Yes. Hello students, today we will discuss the very important law, that is law of supply. So let's begin with that. As we have already seen that there exists direct relationship, there exists direct relationship between price and quantity supplied, and we are going to prove this statement in this law. So let's begin. They mean to say that if price rises, supply also rises. If price falls, supply also falls. Okay, both arrows are moving in the same direction, therefore we call it as there exists which relationship? Direct relationship. So let's begin with the law. Every time whenever we write the law related answer, first we write about the introduction, then about the statement, and then we write some assumptions, then schedule. On the basis of schedule we draw diagram, this curve, supply curve, and then this law is not applicable in certain cases, we call it as exceptions. So let's begin with the introduction part. First of all, law of supply was introduced or propounded by Professor Alfred Marshall in his famous book, Principles of Economics, which was published in 1890. This we have written, same introduction has been written in the law of demand also. So this has been introduced by Professor Alfred Marshall, Principles of Economics, published in 1890. And here we are going to tell that there exists which relationship? Direct relationship between price and quantity supplied. So let's begin with the statement. Statement you have to write in double inverted, then as it is. Okay, other things means what? Assumptions. We are not going to write, just I'm explaining you what these other things, why this statement start with the other things. Other things means while proving some law, we are assuming few things remains constant. Higher the price of the commodity, greater is the quantity supplied, and lower the price of the commodity, smaller is the quantity supplied. Higher the price of commodity, greater is the quantity supplied, lower is the price of the commodity, smaller is the quantity supplied. Okay, in simple word, when price of the in simple words, when price of the commodity increases, its supply also increases, and when price of commodity decreases, its supply also decreases. If you want, you can write, but compulsory you are going to cover introduction and statement part. Next, we also write about the relationship. Okay, so symbolic expression, we call it as symbolical. Sx stands for supply of commodity X, totally depends upon function of price of commodity X. Price of commodity X. Now remember students, there is one dependent factor and there is one independent. Supply is dependent factor. Supply totally depends upon the independent factor, that is price. Price is independent. Price of commodity X is independent, but supply totally depend upon the price. So we are going to write this in long form of this, and they are saying that direct, whenever, remember this, whenever they say direct relationship, that is positive. Why positive? Because arrows moves in the same direction and diagram will be in upward direction. And when we say indirect relation or inverse relation or negative relation, then arrows moves in opposite direction and the diagram will be downward sloping. So demand, in case of demand we have downward sloping demand curve, and in case of supply curve we have upward sloping supply curve. So this is one more point you are going to add. Then next, Assumptions part I will cover it later. Here we will cover supply schedule, and based on it supply, we will draw supply curve. See, simply we have taken the example like schedule, and its explanation is also important. Many times students, what they do, they just put the schedule, they just write the prepare that schedule, but they forgot to write about the explanation. See, both carries the marks, you need to explain it. Okay, in the above schedule we can see that price of one commodity, one unit is 10 rupees, and as the price rises, supply also rises. So they have direct relationship. At lowest price, lowest supply; at highest price, highest supply. So it's showing there exists positive relationship, or we can say direct relationship between price and quantity supplied. On the basis of this, we are going to draw the diagram. Now students, remember one thing: if whatever the schedule you have assumed, for example, here I have assumed price as 10 rupees, 20 rupees, the same graph I'm going to draw based on this schedule only. Generally we say x-axis, y-axis, then take, and on the x-axis we always put quantity demanded or quantity supplied, and y-axis always price. Okay, so remember that thing. We will see in the next slide. See, same figures we have taken. Okay, so here price, and I have already told you, whenever you are going to explain any diagram, your first point should start with x-axis. X-axis indicates what, y-axis indicates what, and slope of curve. Now x-axis, you tell me what x-axis indicates. It's quantity supplied in kg. Write down the unit also. Okay, price in rupees, and y-axis price in rupees, and slope is, this is upward sloping. These 3 points are important to cover. Supply curve is sloping upward from left to right. Positive slope indicates direct relationship between price and quantity supplied. Okay, got it? So what we have covered, we have written about the introduction part, who has introduced his famous book 1890 everything. Then we write statement, generally sequence wise. After statement, write the assumptions. In this video I have not covered the assumptions. In the next video I will cover the assumptions part. Then we what we do, then we prepare schedule, and we write the explanation of that schedule, and then we draw the graph or curve and explanation of it. Graph explanation covers 3 points: x-axis, y-axis, and slope of supply curve. Okay, okay students, in the next video we will cover the remaining part. Still the answer is not over. Thank you.